Hello, Daisy Cakes. This is Daisy X Bagman, the drag queen detective who investigates all things speculative in science fiction, fantasy, and horror. And this is a get ready with me before I get into drag to film a video later today. And thank you for coming. John is here. He has to have his stove fixed today. Um, okay, so if you have to disappear, that is fine. Thank you for letting us know. Tim is here. Gray and rainy here in Pennsylvania. Hope it's nicer where everyone else is. Yeah, here in Las Vegas, we had like a rainy week, but right now it's pretty sunny out. And it's bright and sunny in Maui. Lynette is here. Tasmania heat wave. Oh yeah, because this is your summer. So wow. Severe snow in Cornwall, Scotland, Wales, and parts of England. Yikes. 49 Celsius in parts of Western Australia, which is more than 120 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, I'm from Vegas, or I live in Vegas, so I like hot weather, but 120 is a little, Fahrenheit's a little much. 110, I'm fine with. Tim has been waiting for snow all winter. Hope we get tons soon. February is usually snowy. I'm not a big fan of snow. And living in it because of the shoveling and ice on the windows and all that stuff. But anyway, how is your reading going this week? For me, I'm reading an old Hugo for an upcoming video. But let's talk about Immortality Inc., the video I released, or I'm releasing the full review this week, but I picked it for the Hugos, um, which I released this week. Anyway, Immortality Inc. I really liked the concept, and I liked the writing. Um, Science fiction is sort of a what if, sort of an extrapolation of what's going to happen, unless you're talking about space opera. But usually it's like technology or, hard science or biology, something like this. This is the first book I can remember, and I'm sure there's others, but where the extrapolation is with spirituality, with sort of the soul being scientifically discovered. And it had some really interesting concepts, like the soul doesn't necessarily exist when you die. You have to prepare it, like through meditation and all this sort of things. Or they have a technology that will make your soul survive, but it's very expensive, so only the rich can literally get to heaven. It's a great book. I highly recommend it. There is some. It does get a little stretched out, especially towards the end, because it doesn't have a very strong plot. But that brings us to um, Free Jack, which is a movie in the early '90s based on Immortality Inc. I don't. I would never ever have guessed it was based on Immortality Inc. It is so far removed from the actual story. And on paper, it seemed like it should be a good movie because you have this great book by Sheckley, Immortality Inc. You have some good stars, Sir Anthony Hopkins, Emilio Estevez, Rene Russo, Mick Jagger, but it's one of the worst science fiction movies I've ever seen. It's that bad. So there you go. Lynette has finished 4 books, but one was middle grade, one was a novella, and one was an abridged audiobook. So it is less reading than it seems. Whatever, it's a good progress. Also finished The Harpy by Megan Hunter. I didn't realize it was psychological horror, so it wasn't scary. Oh dear. Hey, Mooney is here. I finished Ariel the poetry book and now reading a horror called The Unworthy. So far, it's good. Yay. Been working on a Call of Cthulhu scenario, so concentrated reading that for a game tomorrow. Great. It's a novella, right? So it's not that long. Okay, so I think I'm going to do another sunset look because I liked it last week. But usually I like to do different looks every week, but I only filmed Shelved or Shove It. And I wanted to do another video with the sunset look. I might do two videos. But let's see if I can recreate it because I really liked it. Yeah. Move my brushes over here for some reason. Oh, excuse me. So I'm definitely going on a diet because I kind of went crazy on overeating during the holidays. Usually I'm like, I'm not going to worry about the holidays. But it was a little bit much because I gained 10 pounds. So I'd kind of like to lose that. And I found out by going to the doctor's last week. It was just for a physical, annual physical. And I've been convinced I've been shrinking because I'm getting older. Because I've been like 5'10" and 3/4. So I've always said I'm 5'11", rounding up. Um, so I'm like, maybe I shouldn't be saying that anymore. So I had the physician assistant, when she took my weight, they usually just ask, well, how tall are you? I said, well, can you measure me? See if how much I've shrunk. And I'm 5'11", so I haven't shrunk. But then I also found out I've gained a lot of weight. So I'm just like, and it's so funny because my mother-in-law was here. I mean, she lives in the U.S. now and is a citizen, but she spent most of her adult life in the Philippines. And whenever she sees that I've gained weight, she always goes, "Oh, you look so healthy." And the thing is that my husband Dennis and grew up in this very poor family where they had, trouble at times getting food on the table. And he has stories about that I won't get into. But so when he first saw a friend of mine who's actually obese, he goes, "Oh, your friend Sean is so healthy, looks so healthy," because he's equating being overweight with having food, which is kind of interesting. Try to be very careful with calories until Easter. Good luck with that, Tim. Easy to overeat during the holidays. Yeah, I always overeat during the holidays, but I don't usually gain 10 pounds. Yesterday, I dropped a tin containing 120 pencils. Oh no, on your big toe, so I won't be able to go on my morning walk for a few days. Yikes, that sounds painful. Yeah. Hope you didn't break anything. John lost 3 pounds over the holidays. Good for you. For my height, my optimum is 140, but I don't think I'll ever get down to that again. I've started watching Mickey 17. The start is like the book, except for the commander and his wife. Oh, I like the movie, but I haven't read the novel, so I can't make any great comparisons. I love the wife is played by Toni Collette, who's one of my favorite actresses. She's one of those actresses where I'll watch a movie that she's in, even though it's not the type of movie I would normally watch. Famously got her start in Muriel's Wedding. Hmm. Hey, Lori's here. Hey, better late than never. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, I mentioned I got MGM, the trying to think of which yellow. Yeah. Um, to watch the Institute, the Stephen King miniseries. No, actually, it was a whole season, and it's like $2 a month. I like the Institute. I like both the book and the show. Um, and there was a special like $2 a month for 3 months. So anyway, I have MGM. So I was checking out their catalog, seeing if there's anything else I would like. And we watched their War of the Worlds um, series, which is 3 seasons. And it's War of the Worlds in name only. It doesn't follow, except maybe at the very, very beginning, it doesn't really follow the H.G. Wells story. And it has like a lot of time travel, which kind of annoyed me because there's this like huge paradox in the second season. But what I appreciated about it was in the third season was all about the ramifications of paradox. They're using the term black hole a little liberally, in my opinion. Yeah, one of the things that's always been a bugaboo with me is how paradoxes are treated in time travel stories. Okay. Subscribe to HBO Max because of Night of the Seven starts on the 19th. Oh, I can't wait. Mickey 17 is on that. Mickey Rosa Sandwich. What type of sandwich, John? Let us know. Has anyone read Desperation by Stephen King? I've not. I'm trying to pick a King read for this year. Gray and snowy here, Tim. Jealous of the snow. Okay, what am I doing? Going to be the 40s next week, so it'll be melted soon. I don't like driving in it, say, but I love sitting by the window with coffee and watching snowfall. Time travel is one of my least favorite sci-fi subgenres. Yeah, me too. Except going to the future. Here's I've read a couple of. I don't think it's that. Um, I think it's more common since I'm reading more and more of the 50s, 60s science fiction, where they have sort of the modern man somehow jumping to the future, like Couple of the Sky by Asimov. And it's a good way to show sort of how modern man or modern people look at uh, sort of this new future. Um, but I feel as though I'm just doing this because of vibes. I feel as though that was happening more in sort of the earlier days of science fiction, you know, which goes back to Connecticut Yankee, King Arthur's Court, which is into the past, but I don't know. Then we have the Bobiverse, which is sort of the same thing, a guy waking up in the future. And also the premise of Immortality Inc. Okay, I'm gonna go with black. But yeah, like I said, I believe was much more common in the earlier days of science fiction than it is now. La-di-da, la-di-da. I don't mind future jumps or people in the past coming to our times. I don't like going back to the past. Yeah. I don't mind time travel stories. The Doomsday Book will always be one of my favorites. Well, that's an interesting one because Connie Wills, um, because the time travel acknowledged that there were paradoxes, but because the way the universe works, you can't um, you can't cause the paradox. It's physically, it's in physics. It's impossible to cause a paradox. So when you use a time travel machine to jump into the past, if there's any chance you can cause a paradox, you get shifted to some point in time, at least somewhat near point you're going to, where you won't cause a paradox. And in the Doomsday book, it's to the Black Death. Yeah. But I agree with Lynette. It's not one I usually seek out, but I mean, it can be done well. And I'll always have a soft spot for the Time Machine. Okay. Read a book a while back about a guy dying of the plague who is offered by a demon a chance to spend a day at a time in the future, jumping 80 or 100 years in time. That sounds familiar, actually. When people are feeling sorry for themselves during COVID lockdown, I was like, read about the real plague and you'll realize how easy this lockdown. He brought the plague with him. Oh, I didn't even see that coming. That what happened? Okay, so let's do some eyeliner work. Actually, Stephen King did that time travel back to the Kennedy assassination. I did get that. I tried to do the audio book of the Stephen King short story anthology where there was like an alligator head um, that looked like an island or vice versa. And I wasn't really crazy about the audio version. I didn't even finish it. That was why. I don't know if it was my last Stephen King. The Time Ships was one of the good time travel novels. Don't think I've read that one. Just looked it up. Outcasts of Time by Ian Mortimer. Mortimer is a well known historian. This is one of his rare novels. Oh, I didn't know that author. Haven't read Stephen King in a long time. I think the last thing I read by him was The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon. Haven't read that one. I mean, I've said it before, my favorite horror writer is actually Clive Barker, but he hasn't written anything new in a long time, I don't think. Maybe I should look that up. Someone can look that up for me. But it's been a while since I've been able to pick up a Clive Barker novel. He started a really good middle grade series called Ararat or something and never finished it, which was feels as though something was going on with him. Okay. I've read 15 King books so far. I never got through all of his books. Yeah, it's a huge library, a backlist. I think my favorites so far are Needful Things and Thinner. Needful Things was really good. Yeah, I like Needful Things. My favorite still is The Stand. I've never read a King book. Oh, interesting. My favorite is The Stand, I think, but it could have been my age that I read it. I was in high school. Um, but now that I'll finish The Dark Tower, or when I finish The Dark Tower, I really like The Dark Tower, which is more contemporary fantasy than horror, but certainly has horror elements to it. Okay. Getting the loose yellow powder ready. Only read one King book, didn't love it, didn't read anymore. Hey, that's why they have different flavors of ice cream. Every author's for everyone. For me, the thing for Stephen King is his uh, characters. I really think it gets under the skin of characters so you really can understand them. Or it really brings them to life more than um, most authors I've read. And I have a soft spot for his um, early books of psychic phenomena, like Firestarter. I really like Firestarter. Um, Carrie's kind of like that. Dead Zone. I read a little bit of the Dark Tower, but DNF'd it. Dark Tower is quite a commitment. Wasn't so much for me because I read them as they were coming out. But to sit down and read the whole series right now is a commitment. But I love reading long series when I catch them as they're being published. You never really know if a series is going to be like that, but that's how I read The Wheel of Time. And more recently, the Stormlight Archive by Brandon Sanderson. That would be a tough one just to pick up all at once right now. I wish that's how I read Stephen Erickson's Malazan series because I really enjoyed the series up until I don't know the sixth book or something because I was reading them all at once back to back and it just burnt me out. I just couldn't continue with it. It was so dense. But I feel as though if I was like reading it once a year, I wouldn't have had that issue. But of course, not we are talking about epic fantasy, and not everyone is in epic fantasy. Um, the 23rd book in the Pendergast series is being released later this month. 23rd book. It's the longest series I've read. I've never read it. Pendergast. Mixture of mystery, sci-fi, thriller, horror. Now, is that I'd be shocked if that was one story arc. Like when we're talking about epic fantasies like Wheel of Time, Lord of the Rings, Malazan, Dark Tower. They're all one story arc. Um, I kind of want to look this up. Look it up because a lot of if it's like a standalone where each book is kind of a standalone story, that's kind of different than an epic. Like the Talto series, which is fantasy, but each book is. I love the series by is that Bruce? Um, okay, Pendergast series is a popular mystery thriller book series. Yada yada yada. Okay, so it is more like a mystery series rather than a whole story arc, epic story arc. Rift War is 30 books. I've read about 75%. I've read maybe 10%. I love the Rift War cycle, but at least in that one, they're pretty much separated by like trilogies, right? It's not like one story, it's like a bunch of trilogies. Like the my favorite, how could I forget? The Elderlings Chronicles by Robin Hobb. Okay, I need to do some. Here we go. Pendergast is a rather strange FBI agent who investigates strange cases. He has traveled in the past and fought monsters and vampires. Like that's kind of fun. I'm gonna have to look that one up. Dragonlance has a lot of books, some more related to each other than others. Yeah. But again, Dragonlance is the books aren't usually one story. By the way, if you're into um, Hickman and Weiss, you got to read the Death World cycle, which is their I think it's their only non TSR related series. And it is epic too. It's like 7 books, but they're really easy to read. They're really fun. The first book, he takes on a monster that is killing people in the Natural History Museum. Why does that sound familiar? Have I read this before? That sounds so familiar. Yes, yes, it's the guy with the tattoos, Haplo. Yes, that is it, DK. If you tell me you've loved it. I hope so. I mean, I can't imagine anyone into Dragonlance not enjoying the Deathgate cycle. Or into like D&D type books. Third book, he meets a man who has found a formula for immortality. You did read Deathgate. It was only okay. Oh, I love Deathgate. The other big name D&D writer that I know of, maybe there's more, was R.A. Salvatore. And I liked his Drizzt books, but they weren't. I don't think I would ever recommend him to anyone not into Dungeons and Dragons or anything like that. Okay. Want a longer series, I could restart. Oh, if I want a longer series, I could restart Discworld. Yeah. Yeah, love Discworld. Only okay because a friend, a good storyteller, told me all about it, and their storytelling kind of spoiled everything when I actually read. Oh, that sucks. I hate people that do spoilers. Books, movies, don't like spoilers. The formula for immortality should be so complicated with so many hoops to jump through that people will just not want to be bothered. Yeah. True immortality, it's a definitely a curse. Okay. Living another 50 years with the way the world is going no longer appeals to me. Well, I am sort of curious. I have hope that we're going to get through the bump of the way things are going. So I'm curious to see how that would manifest. But yeah, it could just go totally dystopian. Love immortality as long as I had youth to go with it. Yeah, you have to have the health to pair with the immortality, or else, yeah, that wouldn't be good. I never get bored. Would be willing to try immortality a few hundred years. So it's not. It's just you want to live a long time. It's not true immortality. Believe things can only get better. I'm I'm kind of with you, Tim. I think things are going to get better. I think they can get worse though. I don't mind living life with my present health. They're going to get much worse. I live in the city with the recent federal murder, and as a lawyer, I feel the Constitution is already dead and gone. Yeah, I mean, the only thing, here's my thought. It seems like we're going down a very dark path, mostly because of the abdication, in my opinion, of Congress here in the United States. But with the midterms coming, I think the Democrats are going to take the House, probably not the Senate. But there does seem to be indications that even the Republicans are standing up to the executive branch. So I mean, I definitely see a constitutional crisis, in my opinion. Um, but I believe it's mostly due to the abdication of Congress's responsibility. And I think, hopefully, at least in the next year, hopefully we'll see that balance come back online to give us a balance of power. But I could just be whistling in the wind. Okay, so what's the top of the ice done? We've gone through difficult periods in history before and survived. We came out stronger. Yeah, but the thing, Tim, is some of those periods last quite some time to get through. Mortality in a bed being fed by a tube would be boring quickly. Yeah, agreed. Okay, let me. Okay. So actually, putting out orange blush to. Okay, forever. This Congress reminds me of the Roman Senate not standing up to the Caesars, but at least we will have another chance in 3 years, if not soon. Yeah, I think it's going to be this year. the midterms. Politicians make too much side money for us to have much help. Yeah, that's a big problem. At least I live in one of the better places on earth. Maybe we should join you, Lynette. Let's see. How do you immigrate into Tasmania? I like the Singaporean system. Okay. To I'm also kind of waiting to see what the new young generation is going to do because it's going to be their world. Okay. What was that movie? I mean, it wasn't a great movie, but where the guy could fast forward through his life. Kind of interesting to fast forward to see how things will turn out. I need to reach forward to get this paper towel. So I'm making a mess. Your biggest worry, Lynette, is the stadium being built. Pay the politicians good wage and forbid them from having any ties to business. Yeah, good luck with that. At least in our country. South Australia has banned most private funding for elections, which is the way to go. New generation seems lost, but we seem lost the generation before us when we were young. Yeah. It is interesting how we're slowly readjusting to technology in the form of cell phones and raising kids. Because surprise, surprise, I'm pretty pro um, technology, but there is no doubt that social media has been really mucking with the development of kids. I mean, back in my day, it was TV, but TV, actually, back in the day, it was radio because people thought radio was killing reading. Then they thought it was TV. But now with cell phones and social media and algorithms and AI, it does seem as though the studies are concluding that social media really is screwing the development of young people. But now we're seeing bans in some countries. We're slowly catching up to that. Decided to do a little light streak there. There's this one really interesting study where they let the kids, this is a high school age, they let the kids keep their smartphones, but they blocked social media, Facebook, Twitter, or X, whatever you want to call it, Instagram. They blocked that type of social media. And they found that the mental health of kids went up. And you expect that. You'd expect mental health to go up. But what they did not expect was that smartphone usage also went up. Isn't that interesting? They stopped using, or they were blocked from using social media, and you would expect their moods to rise, which they did, their mental health to improve, but you would also kind of expect their use of the smartphone to go down, but it actually went up. So apparently they were like looking at more long form content, like I guess YouTube videos, or who knows, maybe even reading books. I don't know. But it kind of shows that it's not the cell phones that are causing issues. It's the way social media is targeting kids with their algorithms and their doom scrolling and all that type of jazz. Okay, anyway. Yeah, it's happening. Social media has been banned for 16 years in Australia. It was video games was the cause of violence. Let's go. Yeah, that was proven not to be true, by the way. Video games do not cause violence. But yeah, the video games was. Oh, and do you remember, if you're my age, back in the 80s, Dungeons and Dragons was the cause celeb for a while of being the downfall of kids because of demonology, whatever. We believe we have passed. What? In the South, we believe the recently passed can show up in dreams and give visitations. My father came to me in a dream and told me everything was going to be fine. I try not to get stressed out. Oh, I kind of love that, Tim. Yeah, Dennis often dreams of people that have passed away. Some people do that, have that happen more often than not. Um, Most tools can be helpful, but can be abused to cause problems, social media, video games, etc. Yeah, but the thing about social games is it's engineered to make you addicted to it. But there's another interesting study on, I'm going to talk about pornography, how we got here. But I have no problem with pornography. But there was a study done about the effects of, I think this is only for men though, men watching pornography, or excuse me, boys watching pornography during their developmental age of, like, I don't know, between 13 and 18 or 13 and 20, whatever. That stage where you're developing, if they watch a lot of pornography online, they have issues as an adult of having physical relations with actual human beings. So that's another very good reason to ban pornography from the underage. Because usually I'm the type of person that's like, well, who cares? We have 6. Alcohol, porn, drugs all have addictive elements. Whenever I find out something has been engineered for addiction, I drop it. Fast food, media, etc. Good for you, Tim. I use Facebook mainly for science books, family, and friends. Well, that's how it started, right? It was sort of this way to connect to others. Um, and I don't think it actually. I don't think of all the social media type things. I don't think Facebook is has that same type of addictive quality where you want to keep scrolling. Well, maybe it does now. I don't haven't used it in a while, but like I know Instagram, I had to remove it from my phone because I found myself just like scrolling, kept scrolling through it. I got hooked on it. Yeah, boring, so repetitive. I just can't figure Facebook out, so I dropped it. I also have a problem with Zuckerberg. Yeah, I did start Facebook for a long time, but I did because of when I was a producer of a video game or of a online game, and I kind of had to join. This was back in the late '90s, early 2000s. Yes, I'm worried about the Andrew Tate type of influencer envoy. Facebook was mostly a college thing in its early days. Yep, but going back to that, and I've said this again and again, but if you have Netflix, watch the miniseries Adolescence. It's phenomenal. Not been on Facebook for 2 years or more. Wow. Well, since I'm on, hello, I'm on YouTube. I do announcements on Facebook and X when I release a video. But that's about all I really do on social media. Oh, and I release on Instagram. Yes. Okay, I think the eyes are dead. So what do I want to do? Oh, for the lips, I have this other topper I'm going to try. Like half the time I'm just digging around for things. Okay. I think exposing boys to misogyny is very harmful, but to them and to women. Yeah, agree. I was on Facebook a couple years ago, and someone from elementary school found me. When I looked at her Facebook page, it was full of cute propaganda. Yikes. Probably better not to know. A Gruber who is currently facing trafficking charges. But isn't he like also somehow being protected by people? It's weird. Just not to know anything about him. Yeah. I don't know. I would be kind of curious to see someone I knew in, I don't remember anyone from elementary school, but from high school. Like, what type of people are they now? I'd be curious. Not that I would want to meet them in real life. Oh, no. This is. I'm sure there are people from my high school who found my Facebook page and they're like, oh my God, he does drag. I actually went to a fairly conservative small town school. Actually need to let this dry before I put the topper on. Hey, stuff is very right wing. I agree with some and don't on some. I really hate this. You are either with us or against this attitude. Saying, I have 4 friends on Facebook who I met at high school, so I've known them for 55 years. That's incredible. All my mates are post high school. Filters looking. Oh yeah, I have a filter. Okay, yeah. I'm the more I'm using this OBS bot, the more I'm playing around with the filters and whatnot. And I noticed, like, we all have our issues with our faces. Mine, I have these like really deep nasolabial folds, these lines. So I turned up the get rid of them as far as you could. And then I noticed the last couple videos that it's like getting a little bit pixelated. So this is the filter I've settled on. If you want to know what I look like with no filter, this is no filter. Filter, no filter. So I kind of like using them. Okay. So I was going to use this as a topper for my lips. I mean, we'll go with the eyes. Let's try it. If I don't like it, I can always redo the lips, which I've done before. Actually, it's going good over the red. This looks so yellow that I was a little bit worried. I just have to remember these toppers are translucent. So what you see here isn't what goes on. It's usually what's underneath. Hmm. And then these dry down. Okay, very good. It looks red. The heady filter. Oh, stop that with it. Beyond filter fixes. Okay. Oh, eyelashes. I do need to start new eyelashes. Okay. I'm going to be lazy and not trim them. Hopefully this will work. Technician will be here in 20. Yay for getting your stove fixed. Turn out that. Yeah, still be hard on yourself. Bet you were looking forward to that, John. I was without a kitchen or countersink for 2 weeks and just about went crazy. Oh, that's funny because we have we have fortunately more than one bathroom, but just this week one of our toilets wasn't working. It just kept the water kept running and it wouldn't flush, and I I couldn't figure it out, so we called a plumber, and he came over and he discovered that we have one of those flushers where you push the button at the top. Well, a piece of that had fallen and was blocking the fob thing from totally closing. So I felt so stupid. But the plumber didn't charge us anything. He was like, "Oh, yeah, I won't charge you anything. You just have to get rid of this little piece of plastic that fell into the toilet and is keeping the piece from closing." Yeah, but that's one of those things where you can't really live without a toilet. But like I said, we had more than one toilet. It wasn't that much of an emergency. Ooh, must work. Okay. Alrighty, eyelashes are on. These are huge lashes. I need to get more of these elections. No, he didn't even charge for the house. No, he didn't charge. Well, they claim that they would, all the plumbing services here says they give you a free estimate. So he was coming out to give a free estimate, and he was just like, I'm not going to charge you for this. Oh, it's under, your stove is under warranty? Plumber charges the $15 float, they charge $300. Yeah. Thank you, John. Really like these lips. And I really like these toppers because, like I said, they dry down matte. So they don't get on your teeth. Nothing worse than being in drag. Oh, I forgot about these. Than being in, or wearing lipstick, whether you're in drag or not, and then seeing a picture and later realizing that you have lipstick on your teeth. And I grabbed this wig. This fancy schmancy wig. So I don't think I've worn it in a while. And it doesn't go with these earrings, but that's okay. Let me. So this is the final look. Doing another sunset look. And next week I'll do something different. I'll go back to blue or purple or something. Okay, this is it. I will be releasing this week my review of Immortality Inc. And I'll be recording a upcoming video for another old Hugo book today. But yeah, I think I am pleased with this look. And I should be back next week. Oh, what I did, if you remember the yellow wig I had that I liked so much, the wig seller, Wigs by Kendall, had another sale and I bought another wig. I'm gonna have to stop buying wigs. I have too many wigs. So, but I'll be showing that or showcasing that next week as soon as it arrives in time. Okay, guys. So I hope to see you then. And as usual, may all the books you read be blessed.